before we start going into it, let me first talk to you about the most common mistakes that people make. Okay. So, the first common mistake is just not making a decision to compete at all, right? That you just are in limbo. You want to compete, but you're not sure, you're scared, you're fearful. Okay. The biggest thing is people doubt whether their body can actually get in competition shape. Okay. They doubt if they really have what it takes to compete in a show. Oh, those people have been doing it forever. And oh, I'm just not built like that. And oh, they have good genetics, or oh, I have 3 kids and I have a real job. And they'll start making up all kinds of excuses of why all these other people can compete and why they can't. Okay. So, number one mistake that people make is just doubting if they can really get there, doubting their circumstances, doubting that stuff. That is like the number one. And in fact, when a lot of people actually sign up with me, they still doubt. They still doubt. And that's okay. That's something that we deal with all of our clients, but they still doubt. But if you're doubting so much that it's paralyzing you and you're not doing it, okay, then that's an extreme problem in your life. The doubt that you have, the fear that you have, okay. Now, a lot of people doubt if they actually have the discipline to actually do it. And I tell people all the time, the only way you're ever going to learn if you have the discipline to do a show is to actually do a show. Okay. Do the show. If you do the show, then you will know, you will be able to assess, did I have the discipline to do a show or did I not have the discipline? Okay. As long as you don't ever try to do a show, you will never have the discipline to do it. Okay. So that's your answer right there. As long as you don't do the show, you will never have the discipline to do it. If you want to know if you have the discipline to do a show, you have to do a show. That's the only way to learn. Okay. So I know it sounds so silly, but that's just the truth. Okay. If you want to know if you have what it takes, just do it. You will figure it out if you have what it takes. Don't quit. Follow through, finish, and then you can make an assessment once you finish if you had what it took to actually do a show. Okay. All right. So that's number 1 and 2 common mistakes. Okay. Now, the biggest common mistake that I see is hiring the wrong coach. Okay. Most people, when they go to hire a coach, they find the first coach. Oh, you're a fitness competition coach? Okay, you're hired, right? That's all they do. They hire the first coach that they meet. Okay. Because they think that, oh my gosh, I've never met a competition coach. There are hundreds and thousands and hundreds of thousands of competition coaches. Okay. So, first common mistake that people make is they hire the wrong coach. And the reason why they do that is they just pick the first coach. Okay. One of the other mistakes that people make is they don't hire a coach that actually specializes in fitness competitions. Okay. A lot of people will just go hire a trainer. Okay. They'll just go hire a trainer who just, trains, 85-year-old lady, to just learn to be able to carry groceries in her house. Right. And they'll hire that person to do their competition. Okay. If you want to do a competition, hire a trainer, a coach who specializes in a competition. Okay. Don't hire somebody who specializes in sports performance because it's not the same thing. Hire a coach that specializes in a competition. The other common mistake is not doing your research on exactly what you need to do. Okay. Not understanding the process of what you're going to have to go through, which is what we're going to talk about today, but not doing your research. Because if you don't do your research on what you're going to go through, the process that you need to go through, and you hire a coach, you're left up to whatever that coach knows. Okay. So if that coach doesn't know much about the organization, doesn't know much about competing, doesn't know much about the process that you're going to go through, you're shooting yourself in the foot because you are going to experience some kind of problem that he's not going to be able to help you through. And it's left up to you to try to figure it out. Okay. So you have to do your research on the process that you're going to go through. You have to do your research on coaches, and you have to know what you really want out of a coach. Okay. I cannot explain to you how important it is to hire the right person. Okay. You have to interview them. You have to talk to them. You have to understand, hey, listen, what's your process? What are you going to take me through? How are we going to do this? And don't just take their word for it. Go talk to other coaches and figure out how they're going to do it. Okay. Let them give you unbiased feedback. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm trying to give you unbiased information so you know how to be a smarter competitor. More importantly, how to hire a coach. Okay. So make sure you really do your due diligence when you're hiring a coach. I cannot explain that enough. Okay. In fact, in the ebook, I actually have a whole process on how to hire a coach. Okay. And so one of the other mistakes that people make is rushing the process. Okay. Yes, you may have a nice body. Yes, you may be beautiful. And yes, you may have a lot of followers on Instagram, whatever it is. Okay. But don't rush the process. Okay. So many people call me up. Hey, I want to do a show in 3 months. I want to do a show in 2 months. Guys, that's not enough time to truly enjoy the process. Yes, physically you might be able to, but there's so much you need to learn about doing a competition that it's going to be so hard to pack it in 2 months. And if we can pack it in 2 months, you're not going to enjoy the process. You're going to be miserable. You're going to be stressed out. And I'm telling you right now, that is no way to do your first show, is to do it stressed out, because there's so much overwhelming things that you need to know, that you need to do, that you need to learn. Okay. So don't rush the process. If you want to talk to somebody about doing a show, send me a DM. Let's talk about it. And I'll tell you the way to go through it so you're not rushing the process and so you're enjoying the process. Okay. All right. And I'll say, here's this is the final common mistake that we're going to talk about today, even though there's so many. Okay. So the final common mistake that I see a lot of people make is they will pick a show that is for non-drug tested athletes. Okay. So they're picking a show where they're going to be competing. The top level competitors are going to be on performance enhancing drugs, steroids, HGH, clenbuterol, SARMs, all these other performance enhancing drugs. Okay. So they actually pick a show, not realizing that there's a difference between drug tested and non-drug tested events. And there's most likely, more times than not, these top elite competitors in these different organizations are actually using drugs. And so a common mistake that I see people make is, number one, being totally oblivious to the world of drugs in the competition world. Okay. Number one, picking a show where the top competitors are using performance enhancing drugs. Okay. That is a huge, huge, huge mistake. Okay. I'll tell you right now, there are organizations out there that are drug free or drug tested. Okay. So if you are interested in doing drug free or drug tested shows, that's what you have to look for. If it does not say that it's drug free, or if it does not say that it's drug tested, it is not drug tested. There's going to be a ton of people doing a competition, doing these drugs. In fact, the very first show that I ever did, okay, I was totally oblivious to the idea that these people were actually doing drugs. I was so new to it. Okay. And so when I was doing the show and I was prepping for my very first show, I actually did a non-drug tested event. Okay. Drug free. Okay. And as I was going through it, I started realizing, oh man, the people that I'm competing against, these guys are all on steroids. Right. So my goal within that show, once I showed up and I saw everybody that was there, my goal was like, you know what? All I want to do is beat one person that's on steroids, because I want to show the world, I want to prove to the world, I want to prove to my community, to my followers, that you can actually do a show drug free. And so I went in that show, and that's actually what I did. I competed against 15, and I did bodybuilding, as crazy as that sounds. But I competed against 15 other people, and I finished seventh. Okay. In my very first show, drug free, no drugs whatsoever. And I beat about 5 people that were actually on steroids. And I will tell you, all 6 people that were in front of me, all on juice, every single one of them. And you know what? I was happy that I at least beat a few people that were on steroids. Okay. But I'm also a different beast. I'm a different cat, different animal. Right. And that's why I end up finding an organization that was drug free, and why I stuck with that organization, because I wanted to compete against other people that were also drug free. Okay. So those are the common mistakes that we're going to talk about. Okay.